Oh, jeez. 9, 10. Well, hello, you're very welcome back to another edition of TTML Club for round number 2 at a absolutely saturated Interlagos. It surely will be a lake by the time this session is done. My name is Graham, and joining me, as he was last week, it is Conti. Hello.
Hello, Mr. Graham. Well, thank you for having me. And yeah, this looks like a proper Brazilian Grand Prix. I mean, this isn't the first time we're seeing real, either in the game or in real life.
I'm actually just more surprised it's intermediate right now, to be honest.
It is, it is. Wow, it's really pouring down. Yeah, it can't
Right?
be long before puddles are gonna be forming on the track with this amount of water that's just falling out of the sky.
It looked torrential in the pit lane now, I have to say, so I'm surprised to see Inters. And, well, NXJ has wasted absolutely no time getting out on track. He is one of a few new entries for this for round number 2. He is part of just a one-man team, which is called Ipswich Town Racing. After the, I don't even know what division they're in these days. If they're in, I think they're in either League One or League Two, but it's been a while. Their logo is a horse of sorts kicking a football, so that's always neat. Another entry, we've got NSR Rogard, part of the A team. That is his name, whereas he's in the pits at the moment. But that's also a one-man team. So 11 drivers this week at least. So, but as we saw last week, look, there's plenty of scope for good racing, no matter what the numbers are.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, last week we had around the same amount of guys, I believe, maybe one or two more, but still the race was eventful and well, rather enjoyable to watch from my side at least.
Yeah, definitely. It was close throughout, even despite being a wet race. So, and a very wet race at that. So as NXJ goes around his flying lap, we'll go very briefly through the standings after round 1. Neymar Make is leading the way on 30 points for LH Esports, ahead of Gelato for Mission 44. I actually don't think Gelato's here this week, so a good chance for Neymar to extend at the top. He's just ahead of Jamie in third place with Washed Esports. That title's been fishing so far, not in terms of ability, but in terms of weather. It's definitely matched. It is absolute washout here, as it was in Monza. And let's go to Kermit then in fourth place, 100. GMAC, he would love to be on 117 points. No, sadly he's just on 17 points for X Esports. And Big Meligers, a front runner contender last week. Interested to see how he bounces back. He's in fifth place on 15 points, and that was all the finishers in the end. 5 different teams, 5-point scores. We're hoping for a little bit more to reach the flag tonight, anyways.
Yeah, yeah, and a couple of drivers as NXJ just putting in the first time today a 18.0. I'm sure that will be beaten today. But yeah, a few drivers. I hope they are more lucky than last week because Ascari took a lot of well
It did.
drivers by surprise last week.
18-4 for Vessel, which is quickly beaten by Legende, 17-2. Competitive time. We'll see how the times, if they'll fall, if the track will get any better. We'll see the speed as well. As we said last week, you're just building up speed in these conditions. With Brazil, unlike Monza, kind of even in these conditions, Smoky Chicken goes quickest with a 17-1. Even in these conditions, would you say this track is a little bit, I guess, less hazardous, safer?
Yeah, it is. You don't have the so much fast corners like, well, or medium speed corners like on like Ascari, where we lost a couple of guys. This is more like a low speed corners, especially in sector 2, which are just almost, well, hairpins, or look like it, and then just a fast straight with 2 corners there that aren't really corners here. So the only really difficult one where you can make a mistake and mess up, at least in my case, would be the Sender SS and maybe the last corner going out into the straight, as the curb can unsettle your car if you take it too aggressively.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot of kind of, especially in the middle sector, a lot of twisty stuff. Neymar goes third, quickest 16.7 for him. As Melliker's 16.5s, a couple of guys in the 16.5s. In the wet conditions, I think it's a little bit more tricky. Just with there's a few more traction zones to worry about. Turn number 4, that Melliker's actually coming up towards here. The last corner, Junsao also is very especially in these conditions, obviously one of the more difficult ones to get right. Absolutely key to your sector 3. Oh, and Melliker's had a bit of an off going through turn 4 there. You can see the difficulty as Jamie's retired, and has he lost it? I think he's literally lost it coming out of. Actually, he's lost it heading down the straight. Let's go on board with NXJ. Yeah, he's lost it before. He's after Junsao, after the traction zone. Apparently, he looked away for a second, and his tire just disappeared. So.
Looks like he tried to copy Max Verstappen there with the mega slide, but he couldn't control it and lost his wheel.
So he'll be going no further. That is 10th place for him at best. If Yogi or anyone else can't actually, it's just Yogi actually that would have to beat it, to be fair. So, but yeah, in the wet conditions, obviously traction zones are a bit more pronounced. And there's a few of them to be had here, to be fair. But obviously, like your key to sector 3 is obviously Junsao, which is an even more difficult corner in the wet as well. So hopefully these guys will have dry conditions. In dry conditions, we usually see DRS trains and the such here, and obviously it's tough to separate drivers at this track. I feel like as well because it's such a short lap, and but any mistake you do make, whether it be through coming to turn 4 here or through Junsao, with the field being so tight, it could end up being quite costly.
Yeah, definitely. But the other thing is, if you have a stable car and you make a little mistake, you can definitely win some time there. As when everyone's in a DRS train and bunched up together with all the slow corners there, you can potentially just gain it back on them. So yeah, but besides that, it always is a risk on every track to fall out of DRS of the guy in front of you, and especially when it's 3 or 4 guys slipstreaming, DRS streaming each other up front, and you can lose just a couple of tenths a lap by that.
Yeah, especially at a place with as straight line dependent as this is, as EVG Tam went quickest with a 15.8 and Just Vessels has gone second with a 16 flat. Obviously, it's so important here, DRS, with how short the lap is. Just the 2 zones. But still, it's so important. If you lose at DRS, you're in such a difficult position to try and make it back, which is why we see some desperate driving at times, especially in the early phases, just to try and keep within that margin. Because if you lose it, then like you say, if there's a gaggle of a 3 or 4, then it just becomes so difficult to make that back up.
It is, and I must say, seeing these guys putting in times here, there's some. Well, especially, what is it now, the top 6, really fast. And I thought this track would be getting wetter and wetter, but these guys are just going faster and faster on those intermediates.
Yeah, like you said, like it's all. For me, I find it just you're just building up that confidence, you're building up that pace, you're getting more familiar with how the track feels, you're getting more confident as you understand the limits of the track and the tires. So it is one of those where you just, like most of the guys are towards the top, they're done 3-4 laps, they're building up, and the fuel load's getting lighter, of course, as the confidence grows. So when you are at a good space with the track and the conditions, your fuel's also going down too, and the tire wear is not too bad that you're losing out from that point of view as well.
No, tire wear is actually pretty good around here, and I'm just wondering. I saw in the comments earlier today that Kermit is doing no assists, but he's still in the pits, and he would have been doing no assist last week. Will he put on assist because of the rain, or will he be racing without assists for the first time?
He turned off assists. I think he turned them back on for the wet race in Monza. I did see him actually coming into the pits, and did see a lockup on the brake, so I think he is at least trying no ABS in these intermediate conditions. I have to say, this car is if you get an actual camera angle that works from broadcast, it's a very nice looking car now, I have to say. Very, very pretty in that red and white.
It's a nice livery, especially the back end of the car is really cool.
reminds me kind of like a Mercedes, but see, the thing was with the Mercedes, I didn't mind the AMG spam. I know some people did, as a Melikers goes quicker to the 15.5. I didn't actually mind it, to be honest, but that's just me.
With all the stars, you mean?
Yeah,
All the little stars. Yeah, it actually, I mean, I'm not that big of a Mercedes fan, but I
no, neither am
actually
I.
like all those stars.
Yeah, I like the back end of it. Like, despite all your AMGs and all the stars, I actually quite liked it. So, I like it. Like, I'd be the same as you. I would be the biggest Mercedes fan in the world. So, uh, but yeah, very nice on the back of Kermit. Of course, he has his teammate this week as well in Funky Chicken. So, hoping for a double points finish there, and they should be. They're two. Look, they're two. There's a chicken as well. Like they're quick drivers. They're good drivers. So, you'd imagine just keep it clean and good chance for a double points finish to vault them up the standings a bit.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Funky Chicken, really quick, really quick driver. And Kermit, not especially one of the quickest guys, but he is he is smart. I mean, he's patient, he's smart, so he's always there, like last week, to pick up
Hmm.
those well, costful points.
Yeah, absolutely. When everyone else fell apart, he was, you know, the pace was unspectacular, but he was there. He kept it clean. He kept it out of the barriers, and got himself a good points finish as a result. And of course, he
Yeah.
is trying. Look, the pace naturally wouldn't be quite as there. I know he wasn't. I know he was trying no assist, and obviously, turn some of those back on for the full wet race. But no, it's again good opportunity to try something different, something new towards the end of the cycle of the game.
Yeah, definitely keeps it more interesting uh, at the end of the game cycle. So.
And it looks like it feels like there's a few brighter clouds around the place. Like it looked like a bit of blue sky threatened to push through. Now, it might not change anything in terms of crossover, but if the track if it's raining a little bit less, then we could still see some big improvements toward the end of the session here. If because I'm just on board with Funky Chicken. It's quite bright here in Sector 3. You can see kind of how this blue sky threatened to come through there. It won't change anything in terms of we're still going to be on interest to finish here, but again, it might be just a little bit more time to be found at the very end of the session.
Yeah, definitely. And sometimes this game just surprises me on how fast that track can dry up. There's still 5 minutes to go, so if this really is those last few drops, it can dry up fairly quickly, and we might see a final run on a soft tire somewhere, as Legenda puts in a 15-1 now.
Quickly, more comfortably the quickest, but that's quickly undone by Dust Vessel, so drivers are finding time out there. Just on board Funky Chicken as he wrestles the car. He had to wrestle it through turn 3 and a little bit through the exit of turn 4. He's in 8th place with a 16.4, so if you can find half a second, that will vault him into the top 5. But you can see the lockup. You can see he's running no ABS, which is very difficult in these conditions.
Yes, it is, and especially in those hard braking zones in here, where you need to turn in a little bit and trail brake as well. It is easy in the rain to lock up your tire, so mistakes easily made, and it can cost you a couple of tenths around that. But still, I'm seeing purple sectors for Funky Chicken now.
That was very clean Jun Sao there, so it was very, very clean. His exit was clean as well. So this should be a pretty decent improvement, and with scope to find more time in as well through that first sector. Chooses not to take the shortest run down to the line that you see the esports drivers would use. 15.9 though does put him in 5th place, but I definitely think there's more to come from him on that one.
Yeah, I think he's building his confidence, and there's still, well, with the times these guys are driving now, if he has the fuel, 1 or 2, maybe 3 laps to go. And this Wessel, the first one to go into the 114s with a 114.8 now.
Yeah, so time is definitely falling. Legende actually just boxed. He will get out. He will get back out in time because you can leave very, very late here and still get around. Now, even in the wet, it will still be quick enough. It's a very short lap here, so he'll have plenty of time to get back out once again and try and challenge this vessel for that provisional pole. But like you say, someone's gonna have to get into the 14s as well, which you've only seen one car just do. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, EVG Tam just put in a 115.2, so well, picking up one position and passing Big Malagas now is in P3, and Roy Gaard put in a fifth time here, so really decent time from Roy Gaard as well.
Yep, puts him up to fifth place. Just displaces Chicken. Uh, I'm looking at Neymar here, who's gone out on. He's just starting a lap, but he's on a worn set of intermediates, saying they're 4 laps old. So didn't either I made a mistake in not choosing a new set, or just wanted to carry on this current set as a Chicken will take no further part in this session. He is out. Looks like he's crashed on traction through turn 3.
Yeah, so these Senoritas costing Funky Chicken his life, and then just to come back to Neymar, Mich, on my screen, he's done 0 laps on these tires, so yeah. Not sure.
Do you know why that is? Because I had best instead of tire, so that would be why. I see indeed that he's on a fresh set. I was thinking that was odd, but thank you for making sure I was on the right one there. He's well up on his time, so he is. If he can carry it forward, he would definitely break it to the top 5. But at the moment, it might be looking for 5th. He was 7/10 up, at least on my end. Just give him a 15.3. See how much time there was to be found in the final sector. Just really one corner. And to find a little bit more time on the exit there. 15.1, just narrowly misses out on P4 there.
Yeah, so great predicting from your side, and well, I think he's just keeps going until the time runs out, and this will be his final try, seeing there's under a minute left now, so well, he might be improving on his 115.1, but he needs well, a little bit more to come in to those 114s, and this Wessel thinks it's enough. And retires in the pit lane, and just Big Malaga puts in a 114.6, so he's almost 2/10 faster now than Das Wessel was.
Yeah, I wonder how quickly we can actually expect times to fall. Can we get something in like a 14.3, a 14.2? We'll have to wait and see. A couple of guys coming across the line. I'll have time for one more lap after this. The checker flag is just about to drop. I think when Neymar comes across, he might be the first one. See if Legenda can get across.
He should be fine, I think. Yeah.
Yep, he will. So Neymar will be taking the flag here. May have mistimed that one, and he stays in 5th. He improves, but stays in 5th place. So he will not be going any higher than that. Melika's on a back-to-back run, and it's tight. He's about 200ths down on his time, and just turns that into a very narrow advantage. How's the exit out of Jun Sao? Stable car. You can see the car wanted to get away a little bit, but he got on top of it quickly. Mounting the curb. If it's going to be improving, it's going to be tight. Can he improve on his margin as he comes across the line? He does, by just under 500ths. 14.6 for him, and there's an absolute gaggle McGee coming up in the sector 3, starting with Tam.
Yeah, Tam up on his time on my screen by 2/10 now, so he really needs some straight line speed here. I don't think he made it. No, Neymar already out of this session, and I saw Legenda. I was on board with Legenda when you were on board for the final lap of Malagas, and he made a big mistake out of turn 4 and run completely wide, so that ruined his lap for him there.
And that should do it. That is going to be our grid. So Melliker's then coming through with the big lap time. Actually, Das Vessel and Legenda had the exact same time.
Yeah.
14.811. I reckon both would have thought maybe to improve. Maybe more so Legenda, who came in around the 3-minute mark. And Das Vessel then maybe didn't have anything left. But Melliker's then showed the pace in the wet conditions last time out in the race in Monza. We'll see if the conditions carry over, but if they're wet, if they're dry. But certainly a fantastic lap from him to take a pole position there at the end.
Definitely, and let's hope, what was it last week? Das Vessel, I believe, that his his equipment stays in one piece.
Absolutely, he could have had a good result then, but he got a good chance for a good result today. He starts second just behind Melkers then. Legende rounded out the top three, then Tam, Neymar rounded out the top five, Rogar then in sixth, Jay in seventh, Funky Chicken eighth, Yogi ninth, Kermit 10th, and then Jamie will start from 11th. So a bit of a softer braking into turn one here, unlike Monza. So, obviously you want to be. Oh, look, it goes without saying, you want to be further forward, of course, but especially if you're towards the back, is difficult with the obviously with the potential for DRS, and if you get stuck behind someone that's maybe a little bit slower than you are, you can lose touch very quickly. And if you're on mediums, that is especially bad news because it's going to be difficult to make up that time again unless there's a safety car intervention.
Yeah, but to be honest, depending on the weather now, it's all sunny and shiny outside for the race, so I'm not expecting too many safety cars here. Barriers are quite far away, so I think we should be okay on that side. Um, just give and take because you never know, but uh, yeah, at least we have a dry race here, so yeah, something new for these guys who all have a feeling in the wet now, and now all of a sudden there's new braking points for the race.
Yeah, it changes the game a little bit, and we'll see if anyone decide to go for bit more of a wet setup to try and get some track position. It is important here, as we mentioned with the DRSing. So I'm interested to see if anyone goes mediums because from personal experience, I've just found that the mediums you just lose too much time in the first stint, and if you lose touch with DRS, then it's very difficult. It's all about staying with the pack here if you can. And we have a few medium runners actually fourth and fifth with Tam and Neymar choosing mediums. Got Chicken and Yogi then on mediums as well. Everyone else on softs. And if you're on softs and if you're behind a medium runner, I would say it's critical to get by as soon as possible because you are expecting a soft to medium, a stint or a medium to soft is the strategy here. But the difference in pace, if you get trapped behind someone on mediums and with DRS trains, I've just personally found that it's difficult to start on mediums sometimes. But that was in a grid of 16, 17, 18 drivers. Could be a little bit different story in a grid of 11.
Yeah, true. But on the other hand, if there is going to be a safety car, I mean, I've seen guys around this track doing 18 to 20 laps on soft tires here. So if there is a safety car halfway and you're on the mediums now, you can go on the soft tires and you'll have a big advantage in the second half of the race. So yeah, it can be worth the gamble.
It can be, and look, if you're on the mediums, obviously, you're gonna have to hope maybe if you lose touch, obviously a safety car is your biggest salvation here. If you're on softs, also safety car can be good at the right time as well to help extend that stint because if you do jump in a little bit too early, you do risk a puncture at the end. I've seen quite a few punctures at the end of races here from people who jump a little bit too soon onto the mediums. And I'm talking about kind of lap 12, 13 range. If people want to jump onto the mediums, it's a little. I've seen it touch and go. If you can stretch this to lap 14, 15, I think it puts you in a pretty solid position to get mediums to the end here. But I've seen people go hard as well, conversely. So it's pick your poison really.
Yeah, I would stay away from the hards, but we are gonna be starting this race. I have a horrible angle, but it's 5 red lights now. It's lights out, and I must say, Big Malagas with a really good start here. Does Wessel side by side now with him. They are going too wide, these teammates, Red Bulls, and well, respect is given there. Big Malaga in first position, this Wessel still in second.
Tan looking to see if he can have a go. Actually, it's Legende. He wants to attack this vessel. Goes defensive into turn number 4. And Melgar then holding on to the lead of the race. Further back, there's a car going off. I think that was Yogi going off at the back there. I'm not sure if he got any damage from that, but apart from that, they all seem to got through relatively cleanly. And you can see Tam and Neymar have their track advantage still on those mediums. Difficult to really make up a ton of places off the line here. Not a very long run down to turn 1. So you got to, if you want to kind of push through your tyre advantage, it's going to have to be in these first few laps here. The likes of Jay here behind Neymar, kind of pushing them through turn number 11. How's the traction? How's the exit? You see, you have to be careful with ERS here as well. It's difficult to get back, and fuel can be quite a touchy thing here as well.
Ooh, look at this, Jay just with his front tire going side by side now on the outside here. Neymar Mich is defending the inside, having the advantage in the first part, but here the outside switched to the inside, and NXJ with a beautiful overtake on Neymar there.
Well, he may have had to spend a warning to do so. It looked like from the view I had, but he moves up into 5th place, and a big move there to get ahead of him on those softs. We got 2 people in the pits, Yogi and Jamie there, so they'll need some safety car intervention to get back into the fray on this one. But as we kind of predicted, it's very, very tight, very compact. No one's really running away with things at the moment. Everyone's at the moment within the second range. So with DRS about to be enabled last lap, if you go into lap 3 and you haven't got DRS, then you could very much be in trouble, and that's actually where Jay is at the moment. He's just on that threshold, and he should be trying to push home that tyre advantage on Tam, revving through the gears very high on the limiter there.
Yeah, and Tam not completely safe as well. I mean, he's on 8/10, still in DRS range now, but he's just right on the bubble there, and Jay right out of it now. So that could be good for Neymar, but Neymar under real pressure here from Roygaard, who you can just see he can brake later, he can go earlier on throttle. So yeah, Neymar have to be careful to not be overtaken and to stay in within that second of NXJ.
He did just about that as the first DRS detection zone passed us by. No one really changing positions, and you can see Neymar is struggling a little bit on those mediums. He's now 1 second behind. We've got a 5-second penalty for Yogi in the pit lane, and he chooses to park it up, so he'll go no further.
Yeah, and that's our first one. Ooh, as Roygaard just went into the back of Neymar there, because Neymar is just braking so much earlier on those medium tires. So Neymar really struggling outside of DRS from NXJ, and he needs to use his ERS here to defend. But I must say, as you said, ERS is difficult to get back here, and look at NXJ, he's almost out of ERS already, and it's lap 4.
Sometimes it's important to use it at the same time. Got a little. How will does Vessel have a little look at his teammate Melliger's? Just choosing to hold on to his ERS at the moment, wait for a clean run. You can see, let's say, the Legende has used a lot more than does Vessel. So just taking the time at the moment as we got Neymar, and taking that position back was Neymar on Roygaard. Oh, almost difficult place to leave the car in. Could easily end up with a lot of damage, if not catastrophic. But they find another day, but they are bleeding time. This is a big blessing for NXJ, who was seemingly struggling a little bit himself, and he's still on the edge of DRS himself, but luckily for him, he's got significantly less pressure now from behind, as the squabbling's allowed a 2-second gap to open up here.
Yeah, and there's all this battling and Neymar struggling has made Funky Chicken just being right on the back of these guys as well. But I must say, I thought he was able to, as Big Melga and Das Wessel just changed positions here, and now Roygaard passed Neymar as well in this DRS zone here. So maybe Funky Chicken can capitalize on this, because if he can keep this his tires in check here and that squiggling back end of the car on track, he can be making a move on Neymar as well.
Melgers takes back that place from Dus Vessel. Legende watching all the way. So top 3 kind of breaking away a little bit from Tam, and who's on his medium compound tyres. He's just on the edges there, and if any more squabbling happens in front here, they get kind of pent up just as they are here, you can allow Tam to get back into the fray as well. So Rogar then taking back that 6th place from Neymar, and you can say Chicken in the mix here as well. But at the top, kind of as we kind of expecting this race to unfold, a lot of DRSing, kind of going back and forth, close action, which is something that Brazil always delivers on in league racing.
Yeah, and I must say, I'm still a little bit surprised that Tam is just on the bubble up, but I don't think he has DRS now. I thought he was just outside of it, and now, if that's the case, we can see him falling back quickly behind the top three as this vessel and Malaga are switching positions again. And well, it's going to be difficult for Legenda to get into the mix here because he's always the third car in the little DRS train.
Yeah, he just has to bide his time back there. He can afford to. I'd use this opportunity, to be fair, to try and recover some of that ERS. You see the difference of ERS between Dus Vessel and Melligers. Melligers having over 80%, so very much just kind of managing his resources at this phase of the race, just letting things happen. Like Dus Vessel isn't going to escape the road anytime soon. Not with that DRS, and if he does get a little bit further than Comfort, he's got more. He's got full ERS essentially to use to try and push back up if he needs to. So I think very much in the managing phase at the front here.
Yeah, and look at this. Tam already in one lap he lost half a second to the top three, and NXJ right in behind him now within half a second. So these soft tires still working good. As you see Tam just wiggling left to right to get warmth into those tires. So I think he's struggling with tire temperature, and NXJ was closing in so quickly there, but not yet ready to make a move. Can he try it here? If he has a good exit here, with the overspeed, with the DRS he has, he can try to make that move. Switching to the inside here, side by side now, and yeah, you can see Tam not even trying to defend there because he knew this move was coming and he was just defenseless.
Important move to make there for Jay, but the key for him is he has to try and push on now, break that DRS, because it would be, right now he's on top, but if Tam was able to stay within that DRS, then of course he's on mediums in that DRS and has to switch to the softs, whereas Jay will have to go to the slower mediums. So he's got to try and break away as best he can. He's got a fair amount of ERS to try and do that, but has to really hit home his tyre advantage in these in corners like this at Junsao here. And you can see Legende putting, I think, a bit of unwanted pressure on Melligers, who's just trying to manage his resources at the moment. He's got 85% ERS, but Legende has not been afraid to use his ERS and making Melligers dip into his reserves just a little bit. You can see Melliger is not really interested as Tam goes back through on Jay, so if he gets sticking behind, he wants to try and take that position back, and he does, but will Jay be able to reply immediately heading back up this straight here?
Yeah, he will most definitely try, and is he doing the same thing? He is doing the same thing, going down that inside, braking far later than Tam did on those medium tires, and well, he needs to break away quickly in this final this second sector here, or we will be seeing the same, and that's Tam just passing him again.
The worst thing those guys could probably do is continue to squabble with each other too hard and allow this little group here of Rogard, Neymar and Chicken to get back into the equation here. That would be to bring these guys back into the fold and to obliterate their 2.5 second advantage essentially would be fairly catastrophic. At the moment they can squabble that out here for a net P4 at the moment. Oh, Jay's lost the back end. Oh, and he's lost into the barriers and he's out of the race. Now will that bring out a safety car? It's going to make a very difficult decision for the guys on the softs if it is. At the moment nothing doing. It put these guys in a very difficult position. But I don't think they're going to have to worry about it. Safety car looks like it's going to stay inside. He's got Neymar and Rohart again going back and forth. So perhaps a lucky break there for those guys on mediums. Have been a very difficult decision to have to make with a first round of pit stops not in the not too distant future.
Yeah, it is, but look at the gap now between Legenda or the complete top three and Tam there. It's 4 seconds already, but at least he doesn't have any pressure of NXJ, and he can relax a little bit because Neymar, Roygaard, Funk Chicken are not closing in, and they're having a little three-way battle of their own.
And this is why I think it's tough to use the mediums in this first stint, because yes, you're going to have the advantage for the second part, but how far do you fall behind in this first stint? And is it just too much time to try and make up on the softs in the second stint? So we'll have to see how it plays out. At the moment, the gap just around 4 seconds, as you say. Now, will Rohard go for another run here on Neymar? Not using his ERS, but just has so much overspeed. And darts to the inside. Once again, we'll go on board Chicken for a good view of this. Oh, swoops around the outside. I thought there might be front to rear contact there, but he's made it work. And Chicken now is very interested in trying to take advantage here, as Rohar is going to get eaten up by one. Will he get eaten up by two? No, Chicken backs out of it. But certainly see where the opportunistic Chicken would take fancy. He gets such a great drive coming out of turn 4. Uses ERS up the hill. Can he nail it around the outside? Oh, just about. Rohard survives, but nice little attempt there. Savvy attempt by Chicken, heading up the very narrow hill, heading up towards turn number 6 there.
Yeah, it's great to see these guys squabble, and you can see how smart fucking Chicken was there, not choosing to try to go around the outside at turn 4, as well, by the nature of the corner you will be pushed outside. It's really hard to go side by side there, especially when you're on the outside, and just focusing on the exit there and try to do it in the fast right-hander after that in turn 5. But now he's making his move, or he's trying. He's going around the outside, and is he making it 2 for 1? No, he isn't able to pass Neymar there, but he won the position of Boygaard. So Boygaard slowly falling back here as he loses 2 positions in 2 laps.
Yeah, he Chicken decided that enough was enough. He wanted to use his ERS, so he makes up a position there on Rohard, and he's on those softs that I'd say are beginning to stretch us a little bit now. They won't be feeling quite as nifty as they would at the start of this stint. So maybe that advantage switching to the mediums, or at least if we're not too far away from that being the case. Anyway, very wide line there, and we'll see if Chicken can pick off a second one here. The yellow flag. I'm not sure who that is for. I think maybe Tam made a mistake, because now all of a sudden, and that's disastrous for Chicken, because now Neymar was within the DRS now of Tam, so that's desperate timing for Chicken. If Neymar has the DRS, and I do believe he should, yes he does, so that's going to put pay to any overtaking opportunity for Chicken. Really, he's going to be looking to defend, because he does not have DRS.
Ooh, so he's really... Oh, but Roygaard, his DRS... Was Roygaard his DRS open? I thought it stayed shut as well.
They should all be within DRS now, heading down this straight here, and that does seem to be the case. So that's unfortunate for Chicken. He was looking really to take advantage, and all of a sudden now Neymar's just seen so far away, and now with the car to DRS now in front, it's going to just scupper his challenges a little bit.
Yeah, and this is good news for the top 3, who now have a gap of 6.7 seconds to the 4 guys behind them. But still Legenda in all the way back, the 3rd car in this little DRS train of 3. So no opportunity yet for him to try and make a move here. But I think this vessel and Malagas for now are playing a sublime team race, team strategy here.
This vessel still has the ERS disadvantage, but Melliger's not really using to attack. Oh, will that change now? Looks like he's going to go for it now. He's bided his time back here, and his teammate's gone defensive. Have to be careful here. The 2 white bulls, and this vessel holds on, and you can see Legende, if he knows that these guys are willing to scrap and fight like this, that opportunities may come to him. He's in the DRS. He's exactly where he needs to be. Doesn't have to be putting any unnecessary pressure to endanger himself. But if these guys are getting squabbly like this, then he's exactly where he needs to be. And of course, we are not too far away from perhaps a few, an undercut attempt possibly he might be thinking of. I reckon another lap or 2 could be the time to think about it. To get mediums to the end from here, it is touch and go. So risk versus reward, difficult to say.
Yeah, but for now, I think you just want to stay in this little train here. You don't want to fall out. But the thing is, it is multiplayer cars, so it is just a guess who your teammate is. So this Wesson and Melliger could go in together here, and won't be holding each other up in a pit stop. So that's another thing in your strategy to take into account.
Yeah, absolutely. Lap 14, we're getting close, very, very close here to the pit stop window for these soft compound runners, and I'd have to say the clouds have closed in a little bit here around this track. Not indicative that rain is on the way, but certainly not as sunny as it was to start.
this could just blow everything open. If it does cloud up and starts to rain a little bit, it could be um, well, a spectacular end to this race, I think.
Yeah, never quite know how it all might shake out. I wonder if we'll see anyone dart to the pit this time. Again, Melliker's got full ERS, which is he puts him in a very strong position to attack or defend, whatever the case may be. Now, any activity in the pit lane? Yes, this vessel is going to pit, and the Legende stays out. So, does this change anything at the top? Does Legende go for a move now? And arguably, this vessel will be hoping that he does to try and hold his teammate up a little bit. Launch off the corner is it's good from Legende. You see Melliker is trying to break the tow. You see the overspeed that Legende have, but just choosing not to go for it. I'm surprised he didn't try and go back into the tow, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, he is. I mean, I thought he had so much overspeed. I thought he was going for a move. But what he maybe can do now is stay behind Melliger's, taking the DRS advantage on the final straight, and well, just pit in front of Melliger's and win a position in that way.
We'll see if any of them or both of them come in at the end of this lap. Clean bit of track for this vessel, so he's got no worries about traffic in front. Now let's see what either of them will do. Will Melliker's respond? No, he's going to stay out, but Legende is going to come in. So interesting. All three of the top three choosing to approach the second stint a little bit differently. So Big Melliker's will go on. If he wants to use his ERS now would be a good time, because of course you're going to be recovering ERS in the pits regardless, so you may as well, otherwise it's wasted ERS because you're going to recover up to basically 100 anyway.
Yeah, if I were him, I would well, just do the Hamilton approach and just say it's hammer time, full ERS, just use everything and try to make an overcut work there. And maybe it doesn't work on this vessel, but he really needs that on Legende.
Legende has come out on soft compound tyres, which would seem to indicate that maybe there could be more weather towards the end, because of course Legende would have to box again because he's only used the one compound. You have to use two different ones, of course, being a soft medium or whatever the case may be. Can't use soft to the end, so he's going to have to pace on this vessel here. But interesting, the approach here. I don't know if that's a mistake or if there is weather to come, but certainly a split in the strategy here as Big Melliker now comes into the pits.
Yeah, with almost full ERS there, so he didn't use that much, but I'm really curious to see where he's coming out. And as you said, if Legende is soft, it looks like it's a mistake because everybody else is going for the medium tires here. This vessel and Legende are both in front now, but it's a really long pit lane. But I think Big Melliger's lost the position there to both of the guys. And look at this, Legende, even in front, but can he stay in front? It's side by side now, and still side by side here. So some great racing from these guys, but this vessel just in front of Legende now.
Yeah, Legende is banked on using his ERS to try and get ahead and hasn't stayed ahead. The problem now for Melliker is he's going to have to hope these guys continue to fight because he's out of that DRS range now. These guys could just DRS each other for the rest of the race. So this is the tough decision you have to make, where if you're coming into the pits and when you come in, because you could come in, you might have better tyres, but if you don't have that DRS for the second stint, big snap there for this vessel coming up towards Junsao. Arguably that's a tough place for Legende to overtake because he's not going to have the DRS anymore because this vessel is going to get it right back here. He should be able to go right back through.
And I guess it is, yeah, he is doing that now. So, yeah, bit too opportunistic from Legende and made the move a little bit too early. But can he fight back now? He is just, well, almost in the gearbox of this vessel here. Opens up his DRS now, is in slipstream. Both of these guys almost out of ERS already now, but still side by side here through this corner, just like they did last time out. And now it is Legende in front of this vessel. And look at this, all this fighting. Big Melliger already closed in a second here in a lap.
to be fair to Legende, he had to go through on this vessel where he did because the vessel made a mistake. He couldn't not go through there. But now he has to make that tyre advantage count because he has to try and get far forward as much as he can. The mistake maybe for the vessel was to fight it in the first place, knowing that Legende may have to pit again. Again, we're not sure what the weather story will be, but it seems like he's gone in a very different direction than everyone else. So he's going to tear off into the distance here. And now you'd have to say that the advantage is back with Melliger's because he's got a lot of ERS, which he can use to close the gap to bring himself back within that DRS. And he sets a fast lap of the race, and he has the better tyres of these two.
Yeah, well, especially over this vessels now, but Legenda, yeah. Really curious. Maybe you can elaborate after the race in Discord if this was a mistake or if it's just part of a bigger plan that I don't understand here. Because if the last thing is the case, then well, big ups for Legenda.
Yeah, if there's rain to come and intermediates to be put on where the tyre rule then obviously doesn't apply anymore, then yeah, it's a ballsy one because obviously if the rain does come and it's not enough to change tyres, then you're still on the hook for two different compounds. So you play it safe, get a medium to the end, and then you're covered both ways, or take a risk and use a faster tyre, get track position, hope that any weather that might come in is enough to disrupt the order and everyone comes in for inters anyway. So he's just about, has he broken DRS? He has by the detection point, even though that Dus Vessel is under a second behind. No DRS then on Dus Vessel, so must have been within the out of the 1 second window beforehand. Oh, and you can see Dus Vessel getting onto the curbing a little bit in through turn 1, and he's doing well to hold the advantage against his teammate for now with the margin as Neymar and Funky Chicken. While all this has been going on, these two have still been squabbling here.
Yeah, I was just watching that battle as you were when you were on board with this vessel and Big Malaga, and just a beautiful move from Neymar. He stayed behind Funky Chicken on the final straight and stayed just close enough through the center S's to take advantage on the straight up to turn 4 and make the overtake happen there.
Tam, of course, was within DRS of these as well and has managed to get kind of back out to where he was before, about 2 and a bit seconds up the road. So he's recovered well as Tam. He might be in a bit of a lonely race, but he's gotten away from these two at least. And Neymar comes into the pits, lap 19, heading on to lap 19 on those mediums, rather, heading on to 20 laps on those. So he's in, and he should put on softs here to end. So he's biting first. About 17 laps on the softs. Could be a little bit difficult, but certainly with lighter fuel out should be doable. But maybe a little bit certainly earlier than I would be comfortable making, anyways.
Yeah, it's not really comfortable, and your tires are going to be shot at the end of the race. But we've seen the guys in the first stint doing 16 laps, I believe. Legenda and Malaga, so he should be safe tire-wise, but they won't be in a great shape at the end for sure. And maybe more important, he's just right behind Oegaard here on fresh tires, so he needs to make this overtake fast on Oegaard, or he will be losing a lot of time, and that would play into the cards of Funky Chicken when he comes in.
We could see how much Neymar has been held up here in this middle sector. I think if you're Chicken, you have to box. You have to see where he's stuck behind and come in, but he hasn't come in. He's carried on. I wonder if he might regret that because Neymar's going to be very quick on these softs, especially compared to those very old mediums. So I wonder if that may have been the chance for Chicken to come out, to pit and come out in front as Neymar goes by. Well, only time will tell. Can't be too much longer for Chicken before he makes his stop onto those softs.
Yeah, it is. This is just one of those things where it really helps if you have an engineer on board with you looking what's happening in the race. Because if you had an engineer, you would probably go in last lap, as you said, because Neymar was being held up. And I think now he's just not sure about the lap time, so we'll be keeping an eye on that. But I think he's at least a second faster a lap now.
Yeah, it would not surprise me if he comes across the line to set a purple lap time. He's got some pace. He's got fresh softs. I'd imagine it'd be certainly a lot more competitive than than Chicken. And speaking of Chicken, he's actually got Legende for company. Legende, of course, has pitted, but these two could be similar races if they both have to pit again in dry conditions, given that Legende would have to make another stop, as does Chicken right now. But for the moment, on his much superior soft compound tyres, Legende nips through on Chicken, who doesn't really choose to fight that too much.
Yeah, Chicken probably doesn't want to lose too much time, so he thought, you know what, just let him go, take advantage of the ERS, and just as you said, a 1.8, 1 minute 8 for Neymar Mir, which is also the fastest lap of the race now.
Melligers has got within DRS range of Dust Vessel, his teammate, so that's been building for a few laps now. For Chicken, I almost, at this point, if he doesn't come at the end of this lap, he's, I think, leaving some time on the table to make the most of those softs, because those softs we saw could easily go 16 odd laps, and certainly they'd be quicker now at this stage of his mediums. And you know, after this lap, it's 13 laps to the end, which is comfortable, very comfortable for those softs to do at this phase of the race. So I'd hope for Chicken's sake he comes in. Otherwise, he's leaving a lot of delta, a lot of time on the table with those softs, and he stays out again. So either he wants to stay, maybe there's rain to come, he's trying to limp it out until then, but at the moment I don't think it's worth it. I think he's bleeding time as Big Melligers chooses not to overtake going into turn 1, saving it for the DRS straight heading down towards turn 4.
Yeah, and is he saving it to make a move here, or is he just saving it to save ERS? No, he's using everything, going side by side with his teammate now, and this looks like an easy overtake. I thought for a moment Das Wessel wanted to fight that, but Das Wessel lets him by, and it's Big Melliger now our, well, not race leader, because that's Legenda now on his tires, but well, we're thinking he has to stop again, so for now it's the virtual race leader, Melligers, and in second place Das Wessels.
Yeah, assuming there's no rain to come, or not enough rain to come, then obviously Legenda would have to pit, which would put Melligers in a net P1, at least for the time being, and he's quickly gone to the back of Chicken now. This is for position, but of course Chicken is yet to make a pit stop. You can see the difference in speed. Melligers, having saved all that ERS, has decided to use it all now, and he's already broken a second away from Dus Vessel as well, so decide that now is the time to go and use that pace that he's had. I'd say he's had lying in reserve. I think he's been very selective as to when to unleash it, and certainly now he's unleashing it in full.
Yeah, and seeing this vessel now is behind Funky Chicken, and Funky Chicken is on really old medium tires here. Big Melliger can take, well, real big advantage out of this in the second sector with all those slow corners where it's virtually impossible to overtake, but Funky Chicken really has horrible traction on these tires, so he can really work out that advantage. And as you see, it's already over a second now to Funky Chicken, which means this Vessels is going to be out of DRS range of Melligers.
Yeah, he should have DRS. Oh, hits the back of Chicken. You can see this obviously just later on the brakes on those tires, and there's a detection point, so he'll go through and have DRS to boot. I have to imagine that both Tam and Chicken, they have to be ready for some rain here, because there's no way they would go 26 laps without pitting. It's just not the right strategy. They're smarter than that to let that advantage on softs get away. I genuinely think they're waiting for some weather here, because there's no, and it'd be the same for Legende as he sweeps past Tam now heading into turn 4, because there's no way under normal circumstances you would go this far on mediums to not make the most advantage on softs. So I genuinely believe that there's some twist on weather they're waiting for, but at the moment it's just not coming.
Yeah, and if it's coming, it needs to come in fast now, because it is a little bit cloudier than at the start of this race, but well, not cloudy enough to, for me at least, to see some rain coming out of that. And we are already 26 laps in, so still, or in the 26th lap, after we cross the finish line here, we still have 10 laps to go. So if rain hits, it needs to come in fast, or well, the strategy of Legenda Tam and Funky Chicken is just destroyed here.
I thought I just saw some drops. Yeah, there they are.
Really?
The drops have finally come.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that this is the point now, because Neymar is now 7.8 seconds behind Chicken. and these are where the two strategies meet. But the rain has started to come. Now, how quickly does it come is the question. There's enough gap for Chicken to still make this work, but these are going to be. He's going to want to hope that these conditions switch quickly. At the moment, it's this rain is very light, but you've mentioned earlier how quickly it can change. But yep, as kind of it seemed to be the case, the rain they were waiting for some rain. Now it's come, and all of a sudden Tam is in a fascinating position now as well because he's got Melikers and Vessel behind. He's also on the similar strategy here to Chicken. If everyone has to switch to Inters, then all of a sudden we've got a very close field here.
Yeah, everybody. Well, everybody. The majority of the guys left will be in really close proximity from each other, and well, then it's just a case of how fast can you adapt to these new conditions. As now, Meneger passes Tem going in. So I'm curious to see what is Tem gonna do.
He's got a puncture. He's got a right front puncture. He's had to come in. And this is the fear Chick is going to have as well. They're going to have to put on Inters here. That puncture just came at the right time for Tam. He was just coming into the pits when it hit. So, oh, he's gone for softs. Okay.
Yeah, he needs to. I don't think it's just wet enough to do that. But you can see on the front tires of Funky Chicken as well that a puncture is coming. The tires are, just in a bad shape with lines all over the place, graining. These tires don't look good, so he really needs to hold out 1 or 2 laps because it looks like it's starting to rain a little bit heavier now, but not heavy enough to go on the end tires.
Yeah, probably the right decision I think for Tam. Like it would have been easy to go on Inters, but he would have lost too much time. So I think just very unfortunate timing and his hands were basically tied. He had to do that. So that's unfortunate for him and worrying for Chicken as well because same situation, same strategy, and he's managed to keep going so far. And this track doesn't seem to be getting a whole lot wetter. And Meliker's got a 3-second penalty. That could be very crucial for deciding some podium places.
So Funky Chicken still stays out. Tires are in horrible condition and probably within puncture territory as well here. And he's losing a lot of time to the guys in front, but also to Neymar behind him. There was, I believe, 2 laps ago, it was 6 seconds. It's already come down to 3 seconds now. So losing a lot of time because of his old tires here.
Of course, now at this stage of the race, when you're looking at weather, you're constantly looking at sector times and how quickly they're coming down. Hard to say with Chicken. He's going to have to take his degradation of tyres into account here when it comes to looking at lap times, looking at sector times. But for someone on fresher tyres like Neymar, it's much easier for him to do because obviously he's not got the same degradation problem. So I saw he was 7/10 slower through sector 1. Now much slower is he through sector 2? Very tight and twisting sector 2. Let's see what the delta is compared to his quickest time. It's 2.9 seconds. We're not too far off. You could gamble at the end of this lap, but if I was in the cockpit, I would wait 1 more lap because, again, you're constantly looking at sector times. Generally speaking, when you get to about 5, 6, 7 seconds, or certainly at least 4 or 5 seconds slower through 2 sectors, you're very, very close to those intermediate conditions. And I reckon he's over 3 seconds slower. You can see how Chicken is struggling, and these two strategies are finally going to meet here.
Yeah, Funky Chicken really struggling now to get the car turned in and stopped in time here. He's under real pressure of Neymar, who's going around the outside. You can see Funky Chicken need to be careful on these tires and brakes a lot earlier than Neymar. But still, as it stands now, with only 6.5 laps more to go, I don't think it's gonna be enough.
He's gonna have to. I think if I was Chicken, I'd come at the end of this lap regardless, no matter what. Because now we are seeing a few more puddles here, and let's see what Neymar's time is through 2 sectors. I reckon if it's about 3 or 4 seconds, it's time to pit. Let's see. It's significantly tougher. 3.9 seconds. I would absolutely box this lap. Ooh. This is the time. Again, you're looking for the escalation as well. Meliker's into the pits. You're looking at the escalation through 2 sectors, through lap to lap to lap. And I think this is the right time to do it. Neymar's gone on, but I think this is absolutely. If I would have done exactly
Funky's
what Meliker's would have done. Intermediate tires go on. I think that was the right thing to do for Chicken, regardless. Just 29 laps. The track is basically there. this is it.
Yeah, and Tam just needs to keep on going and hoping it will stay okay for his soft tire. So yeah, now we're gonna see how much quicker Malaga and Funky Chicken are gonna be. I mean, Funky Chicken was on really old tires, so maybe um, it's a better decision to go on board with Malagas here to compare his times.
At the moment, losing a little bit of time as he gets those tyres up, but I want to go back on board Neymar because he's the one I've been following here. We know he's got good pace. You can see how he's struggling through the second sector, and I think it's tight at the moment. Maybe a lap too soon, possibly. Let's see. How's it looking? I think we are going to switch to we will switch. 5.9 seconds slower is Neymar on his quickest time through two sectors. Uh, Oh, we've got a car off in front. That's Kermit. He's had it off. Just Vessel now is into the pits. And Neymar is going to carry on. Legende's carried on too. So this is of course, this is we're at a point in the race where you have to decide whether it's worth it to come on to intermediates because it's so close to the end of the race that are you better off trying to limp it out on a wet track? There's only 4 laps to go. Or, sorry, be 5 including the one they're on.
Yeah, and let's see if Big Malaga made the undercut work on this vessel, and he did. Comes out just in front, so I think you are right, and the crossover point is there. Big Malaga winning that position over this vessel by coming in earlier now, but yeah, Funky Chicken 12 seconds behind him, and Legenda, we mustn't forget, already 15 laps on these tires, so his tires won't have the same grip as, for example, Tam's tires would have, and you can see him struggling here, almost losing control of the car. So he's losing a lot of time here and staying out that extra lap. I think he threw away a victory here.
Yeah, I think literally, I think it was perfect for him. He went the entire duration that you would on a set of softs, but I don't think he came in quick enough. There's an accident. Yeah, Kermit's off there through the second to last corner. I think Legende
stays out.
Wow.
Neymar as well.
Neymar as well. This is because DRS has already been disabled. DRS is already disabled. It was disabled last lap. So 4 laps to go, I think, is enough time. I think. Now, where is Melliger? Legende could still come out in front here. As the two,
it's going to be really close. This one.
He's going to get out in front. He still managed to hold this despite going 2 laps late on his inter. So despite that, Legende has come through to jump both Melligers and Dustessa, who are squabbling themselves here for position, and Legende, it's paid off still.
Yeah, Neymar went off here, making a mistake on these soft tires, and Legende already overtook him there. This vessel's creeping up on him now. You can see these guys on the softs, no grip at all.
Yeah, track is done. It's very wet, and Tam having I'm not sure what I know his hands were kind of tied with the stop when he got a puncture, but so you can be very unlucky for that. But I'm afraid this one's a lost cause. It's too long to limp home like this. May as well come in.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I mean, I know it hurts. He keeps on going, and I know it hurts that being unlucky with the puncture and all, but you're just kind of hurting yourself even more now. I mean, look how fast Legenda is closing in on Tam in these 2 corners alone. It's over a second here. As Neymar is coming in now. So yeah, Tam is just thrown away his whole race here.
See, Legende having to get off the throttle. Has to be very careful when you're negotiating a car on a tyre that isn't quite the right one for the track. It's tough for Tam. He's not going to be very happy when he hears Chicken got about 3 laps or so more than him. I believe they're on the same. Actually, do you know what? Let me check what lap they pitted because this obviously comes. Actually, they both started on mediums, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, that's tough. So that literally probably comes down to either driving style, or setup. But 3 laps is a significant difference. So, I mean, maybe Chicken was just a bit more gentle on his tires, and it's certainly paid off for him.
Yeah, and even though it's a small track, or a short track, 3 laps is still huge for your tire. So yeah, Funky Chicken kind of have has the OS10 now ended the race coming out of the final corner. It is. It's
Yeah,
on board. Yeah,
same place where Jamie went off in qualifying.
yeah.
So that's unfortunate for Tam. He was looking, he was, he was ahead of Chicken, and Chicken's here in fourth. So could easily been him in fourth had things broken a little bit differently. But sadly, wasn't meant to be. But I'll tell you what, this vessel in these wet conditions looks like he's got some good pace here. He's pulled away now from Meligers, and he's only 1.4 seconds behind this vessel. So maybe, just maybe, we could see a little squabble on the final lap here, because all of a sudden this is lap 35.
Yeah, so after this one, after they cross the finish line, it's gonna be the final lap. So if he is able to do it, Das Vessel has to do it fast. And I must say, as you already mentioned, I thought Melgus was a little bit faster in the dry, but in the wet conditions, Das Vessel, and I believe he's Dutch, so well, it figures, it rains a lot here, is a real rain race wonder here tonight.
Final lap of the race, 1.2 seconds to make up. It's possible that Dust Vessel is the quicker of the two, but he's just going to run out of laps here. But as you say, like Meligers, I thought was in control for that. Is in the ascendancy in the dry conditions, but he got himself a penalty as well late on, which has certainly not helped him in this equation. So, of the two drivers for the team, it's probably better off with Dust Vessel. But Legend, look, it was ballsy. It was a ballsy move to go for the softs. They just about lasted. Arguably, he went too long on the softs when the rain came, but the advantage he was able to make out with those softs ended up still working out for him. He came out in front, and he's going to hold on here. So he made the bold calls on both occasions, but it looks like it's going to pay off for him here.
He did, and just up front, even before we finished the race here, just because he tried something different and made it work as well, and just proving me wrong on 2 occasions. He already, as he comes up to the final straight here and passing the finish line for the final time here in first position, Legenda, he is also my driver of the day today.
Yeah, absolutely. Fully agree with that. Does Vessel and Meligers then, they squabbled all race long. A little bit of separation at the end there in these wet conditions. They finish second and third. Good results, though, for the team. Funky Chicken then, good drive for him. Very good drive for him, actually. He comes home to finish fourth. Good result for him. It ended up working out in the end for him, just about, and a few others fell by the wayside as well. But no, fair play to him. He made that work very well. Rogard then will take fifth place. Neymar had a good chance. I think a lot of drivers will look at that fourth place and think, I could have definitely been there today. Neymar definitely falls into that category. He crosses the line in sixth place. We haven't really mentioned much of Jamie this race. He's kind of just been there, but he's survived, and he's just about surviving in these conditions. I think he's got Kermit's actually a lap down, I think, and yeah, I can't say I'm especially enthused for donuts, but anyway, he survived. He's going to pick up a P7 for his troubles, and Kermit's going to cross the line here to take 8th.
Yeah, I'm guessing Jamie put off some assists as well, because normally normally his pace is faster than he showed today, or it's just completely not his track. But I think he took off some assist as well tonight. So yeah, big ups for just trying that and sticking to it as well, because it's really easy at the start when you put off assists to when a rain starts in qualifying or anything to put them back on. But he sticked with his plan and finished the race. At least when he's finished doing donuts, will finish the race here.
Yeah, I think he was using no ABS, which in any condition I think is difficult. And in these conditions late on, it's a similar story. But there we go then. I think Does Vessel. Let me have a quick look at the. Yes, Does Vessel, I don't think is too pleased with his teammate for holding up a little bit. Thinks he could have had a go at Legende in the closing exchanges there. So Yeah, teammates come to blows there, and look, he certainly looked like this vessel had some slightly better pace in the wet conditions in the end, but just not enough laps to get it done.
Yeah, yeah. I think if this race would have had two, maybe three more laps, he would be in striking distance. Not sure if he would have made the overtake there
Mm.
happen, but yeah, I must say today again a great race and well, Legende finishing in first position. So congratulations to Legende for his ballsy um, calls there. With this vessel in second position, Malagas in third, Funky Chicken after starting in eighth position, climbing four positions to fourth, Roygaard starting sixth, finishing fifth, Neymar ending in P6, it's Jamie P7, and our last finisher today, TTG Kermit in eighth position with, and well, during the race we lost Tam, Jay, and Yogi.
Yeah, very well done to those indeed. And like Legende, look, he was sitting, third behind Meligers and Vessel as they were squabbling away. And if he had conformed to a normal strategy, probably would have stayed in that position. So I have to say, having seen that train early on and seen Legende there chilling in third, didn't think he would actually be the one to take the race win from both of those guys at the end. So fair play. He bowled on the strategy calls, made it work, and yeah, fully deserved that win. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, as I said earlier, my driver of the day, just for doing that, keeping his composure, tried something different, strategy-wise. Wasn't sure if the rain was going to hit hard enough, but he stick with his plan, and that won in the race.
Absolutely. And the heck, the rain came while it was still. You can see the sun still coming through.
Yeah,
So, no, fair play to them. And like a few guys gambled on the rain coming as well, and that worked out, I'd say, for the likes of Chicken and the such. So, yeah, that was a good race. Very good race in the end. I have thoroughly enjoyed that.
yeah, it was same here. And even though some parts of the race it was spacing out a little bit, there always was some fighting. If it wasn't the first three guys or the three, four guys behind them, they gave me a good evening. And well, that's all what this game's about: giving others and yourself a good evening.
Absolutely. So next up for these guys next week, Monday, the 30th of May at 8 o'clock, same time, they're heading to Austria. So we just left one DRS train galore and heading straight for another.
Yeah, and then the big question is it gonna be a third rain race?
We've had rain in every single session, bar I think qualifying in Monza.
Yeah, qualifying was dry, but it was a wet race, and now here we had a wet qualifier, and well, a half, three quarters of the way was dry at the race, and at the end we had rain. So yeah, who knows what happens in Austria?
They'll be sick of it by this stage. I know I will be. But I think that's going to do it for round number 2 of TTML Club. I hope you enjoyed that one. It was a good race. So my thanks for Conti for joining me. We got treated to a good one there.
Yeah, yeah, we most definitely are, and I must say I can't be there next week, besides you, and I really regret that. I mean, I have to work, but yeah, I'm having fun at TTML Club Series.
Yeah, me too. It's been fun so far. I'll miss you next week. Not to get too sappy here, but but my thanks as always for joining, and we shall see you next week. Take care.